excited.
It's time for Two Guys and a Goalie with Dustin Nielson, Matt Kassian, and the goalie, Joaquin Gage.
A good Tuesday afternoon to you. Welcome to Two Guys and a Goalie. It's a Two Mets and a Goalie edition of the show today, presented by GS Construction, live right here on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports. Thanks to everyone for tuning in live on TuneIn, iHeartRadio, EdmontonSportsTalk.com. For those watching live on YouTube, or for those listening to us on the podcast, wherever you get your podcast. It is an Oiler game day. We will get you set for Oilers and Utah. I am with you, boys, for the next two Guys and a Goalie, as Dusty is off to Disneyland. Tommy will be with you guys actually next week on Two Guys and a Goalie. But today and Thursday, Gage or Cass, you are with me, and we will get to F1. I will just throw that out there. We will get to that later in the show. You've got your Red Bull jacket on. Cass has had a very good weekend in the F1 poll. We'll get fully into that. But boys, how you doing today? Cass, how's your Tuesday starting off?
It's good. I'm just reveling in my podium from the weekend. It's a great feeling to have, entering into the first race of the season and being on top. It's a good feeling. So I'm good, guys. I'm good. The sun is shining, and I'm winning the F1 pool. So I gotta submit here, Manny. I gotta submit for the March Madness. That's next up on my list. I gotta get that in here.
Nice. Thursday. You have till what time's first tip off on Thursday? Because that's when people have to get it in. I love Thursday's a great day.
I'm picking UNC to win it all.
Well, okay. 10:15
all the way.
Thursday, 10:15. And actually Louisville begins it on Thursday as they take on number 9 Creighton. Gager, how are you today?
I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm good. Busy, but it's okay. It's all good. I've F1. It is what it is. You can't take much from this weekend, although Cass is reveling in it. It was just it was utter chaos watching that race, which was very enjoyable to watch, by the way.
I did enjoy what I watched of the race.
Yeah.
Like I said, we will get to the F1. It is an Oiler game day. They are taking on the Utah Hockey Club as the Oilers are back in town after heading out to New York for the 3 games. Picking up 2 wins, winning on Friday against the Islanders, beating the Rangers on Sunday. Cass, I'm going to start with you on this one. But before we look to tonight's game and stuff, with those 2 wins over the weekend, is there anything you saw in those 2 games that makes you believe that the Oilers are turning things around from their slump and getting back to becoming the Edmonton Oilers that we expected the team to be this year and that we saw largely from November through until January? Anything that you saw over the weekend that turnaround has begun?
Yeah, I think I saw it more than I had the previous wins post Four Nations break. I think towards the end of that game, you seen the joy on Connor McDavid's face and Leon Draisaitl on the bench, but just the general push from the team, particularly towards the end of that game when they cemented it, was just one of, we're going to win this game. Right, like there's no questions about it in our mind. We're going to do what we have to do. We're going to fight through this. We are going to win this game. It just felt like there was some intentionality to the way that they've played that we haven't really seen prior the last couple of weeks. That was my feeling anyway. So it's still tentative. I'm still a little on eggshells with it, but I'm really hopeful that was them breaking through that mindset of fragility that they've had, where they've just fallen apart when things haven't gone right. Like this one, it felt like, the game was tied, but they were still in that mindset of, we're winning no matter what. And then just we're able to have a really good third period and score a couple goals, and win the hockey game.
Gage, what'd you make of those two?
Well, Cass mentioned mindset, right? And that, I think the Oilers, for, the games prior and in the losses, they seem to have a focus on trying to outscore their problems or just win by scoring more than the other team. They're, as Cass mentioned, the intentionality of play without the puck, I think, over the last two games has been a lot better. Where forechecking, getting in shooting lanes, battling a little bit more in front of both nets. There has been not a huge change, a subtle change. Hopefully they can keep that going because they'll need it. Like it just seems to me that there was like Cass said, we're not losing this game, and they were all of a sudden started doing all those little maybe intangible things, or not intangible, but things that don't show up on the score sheet that you have to do in order to win hockey games. And that was evident in the last, 10, 15 minutes of that Rangers game.
We've seen with this team a lot over the past. They had that always, when they're in their best, they have that mentality, no matter what's happening, they're going to win that hockey game. They could be down 2 goals in the third period. The Oilers are going to come back and win it. And we haven't seen enough of that from them in a little bit. Is that something that mentally you could just turn on if the Edmonton Oilers, or is that just when you have Connor McDavid, you could always expect that? But is that something is that an easy switch to just turn on, do you guys think?
No, I don't think that's a learnt behavior over the course of a regular season schedule. Being in those tight games, being comfortable in being uncomfortable, and just having that, like you said, that quiet confidence of knowing, we're going to bring this home no matter what. And I've played on teams where we'd be up a goal and we just knew we were going to win. And I'd be up with teams that we'd be up 2 and we'd be like, it was almost like we were losing, So, and probably that feeling of even when the Oilers were up over the past little bit, they didn't feel comfortable. Like no lead was safe almost to that point, right? But yeah, it was nice to see them play in a game where low scoring, and it was basically not complete, but kind of had more of a playoff feel to it, where last goal kind of wins at some point.
Cass, what'd you make of the just overall the entire team's defense, more particularly against the Rangers? Is that kind of what you're looking for from this team to play better, or what did you see in that game?
Yeah. What did I see? I didn't see as many egregious turnovers. I didn't see them giving up the blue line as easily. I didn't see them, for the most part. I didn't see them throwing away pucks in the offensive zone at the blue line and the defensive zone at the blue line. So it was like the little parts of their game were just managed way better, and that allowed them to play their game in a manner that was way more complete. So yes, the team defense was way better, but it started with just not giving the puck away, just not throwing the puck away, and then actually positionally just being more sound when you had speed coming at you from the New York Rangers. So again, it was like, I think a lot to feel well, I don't know if feel confident would be the right word, to build on and to say that, okay, they at least are still capable of playing like they did in November and through most of December.
Yeah, no, it's, and you see that light at the end of the tunnel too with playoffs, right? There's got to be a realization. That's why you have a veteran-laden team is, okay, now it's time to ramp it up a little bit. That we got to get our game to a level that's equal success starting the first game of the playoffs.
Yeah, yesterday was 1 month to the end of the NHL regular season. So I would expect that the Saturday, which is the 19th in April, is when playoffs will start. Oilers maybe get that one. They play on the 16th, I think, is their last game in the regular season. So yeah, like that. There's 15 games left for the Edmonton Oilers. That's it, and then it's playoffs time, and that's how this team's really going to be judged this season. Like we're not going to look back on, times in the regular season. It's going to be, okay, well, how'd you do in that first round? How'd you do in the second round? How'd you do in the third round? Did you win the cup or did you not? The Oilers taking on Utah tonight, 6 o'clock, Oil Stream pregame show. Tom Zola, Hernan Salas will get you set. Cass, are you on pregame tonight? You're muted.
Oh, dang it. I've gone so long without that too. No, not tonight. No. Yeah. Not tonight. Yeah, no, Tuesdays I got a whole bunch of family stuff going on every Tuesday. So
Are you on?
Not
No.
Spells on?
I hope so.
Okay.
I hope Melody's on.
It's Tom's organizational skills. We'll see.
Okay. Well, somebody will be on with Tommy Noonan. 6 o'clock right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. By the way, this is Two Guys and a Goalie presented by GS Construction, setting the industry standard for 50 years with quality, efficiency, and safety driving their success. GS Construction, foundation built on teamwork. And now they want you to become part of their team. Visit gsconstruction.ca, click ready to work, or just visit their page at indeed.ca with the next person up program at GS Construction. It's not just a job, it is a career. Oilers lines from morning skate earlier today. McDavid in between Jeff Skinner and Zach Hyman. Draisaitl between Perry and Brown. Nugent-Hopkins between Podkolzin and Arvidsson. Henrik between Janmark and Kapanen. Jones and Ryan were 13th, 14th extra forwards. Defensively, Ekholm, Bouchard, Nurse, Wallman, Kulak, Amberson, and then a fourth pairing of Stetcher and Klingberg. Calvin Pickard getting the start tonight with Stuart Skinner backing him up. Cass, what stood out to you in the lines I just read there and that we saw at the morning skate earlier today?
I mean, I'm kind of at the point right now where I just don't even care what the lines are at the morning skate, because they just don't last. They just don't last. I mean, what's going to be interesting is just seeing exactly how the deep pairings end up at the end of the game. Like, is that something where we're going to see a little bit of a shifting? With Ekholm stepping back in, that's going to be, to me, like kind of where you're trying to figure out what is going to work the best now that you have a little bit more of a complete look at what you're going to have.
I like this comment from KB in the Nasty Chat. Dry is arguably the best hockey player on the planet this year. Fitting he gets arguably the best wingers on the planet with Perry and Brown. Gager, what do you make of Jeff Skinner going to that top line?
Yeah, let's hope that he can. I mean, I haven't minded his game lately. You know, you're not going to get a bulldog in the corner, but he's been around it. I think he's made some subtle adjustments to his defensive game. He's not going to win any Selkies anytime soon, but I think there's a part of his game that he can be successful with Connor McDavid. Well, again, I'm kind of with Cass. If it doesn't, it seems like if it doesn't work after the first three shifts, it will probably be changed up to some regard. I would just like to see him let these lines marinate for longer than 20 minutes. Give it 30, and then see how it goes. Because I don't know, it just seems chaotic at times. And last game against the Rangers, I felt like he kept the lines together for a longer period of time, and they seem to start gelling a little bit more. And I don't know, because they're going to have to play well tonight. They're playing a hungry Utah team that's right on the cusp of
2 points back of a playoff spot.
So they're going to get a dogfight tonight, which is good. And look, the Edmonton Oilers don't get nights off. They usually get the other team's best effort. But again, if they match the intensity of the hockey club, they should be just fine.
When does this team need to solidify its lines going into the playoffs, or does it?
I think it depends on who they play, right? Because certain lines, I think, you can have more success with certain people together against different opposition, right? If we look at the Kings, I mean, I haven't gone into an in-depth kind of how that looks, but I would assume that you would try to keep the big, like Leon and Connor, on separate lines for as much as possible, because the way that the Kings kind of, I see them match up, it makes it a lot easier for them to focus on that one line and try to do damage in other areas, especially with the lack of secondary scoring that you've seen with Edmonton. So, but again, there's certain teams that I think that line can feast against. Maybe that is tonight. I don't know, but I like to see them apart for the first little bit, and hopefully you can get to a point where you're rolling all four, and just kind of a more evenly distributed minute allocation for your forward lines. Because, again, it's 15 games left in the regular season.
Well, and I don't remember, though, going into the playoffs last year. Like, it felt like knew what the lines were for the most part. Like there weren't all these changes. Cass, for you, like, is there a point Chris Knobloch's got to lock in on some lines and stick with them through a few games prior to the playoffs, or is it just, is what Gager says, it's all going to be dependent on the matchups in the series?
I think it just depends. I don't think it's dependent on the matchups in the series. I think it's dependent on how this team plays the next 15 games. Like how could we sit and say, oh, we need stability in the lines when it's like nobody outside of Draisaitl had been very good for a long time. He was the only guy heading into the game against the Rangers, that only forward that had scored a goal in the last 3 games. Like, yes, ideally you would like to have some stability and consistency to who you're throwing out there, but when it's like Hyman hasn't been consistent, Nuge hasn't been consistent, Arvidsson hasn't been consistent, Podkolzin has been kind of consistent, Draisaitl's been consistent, McDavid hasn't been consistent as far as McDavid normally is consistent, although still very, very good. So it's just like, Henrique hasn't been consistent, Skinner has started to get a little consistent, but even like, it's just who has been consistent enough to the point that you could put them on one of those lines and reasonably say, yes, we know what this line is going to give us night in and night out. Every single night, we know what this group is going to give us. Like, that's how you get to consistency in your lines, is like when you have a duo or a trio that's like, yeah, we get the same thing every single night from this group, and we know what that is, and we like what they're bringing. That consistency hasn't happened. So in a perfect world, yeah, you'd have more stability in your lines, but the team has to play more consistently as a whole to get you to that place in the first place. So I hope we see it. It's just going to depend on how this team plays.
But is there an argument to be made that, like, you got to at least see the lines for a couple of games without changing them to see if they could build that? Like the idea that we're sitting here saying, hopefully like maybe 30 minutes tonight before they mess with the lines. Is there not something to allow maybe 2 or 3 games to play out with the new lines that you're doing at any given point to see if that comes together, and as opposed to, okay, well, if things don't work through 20 minutes, we're throwing this into the blender and changing it?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I agree with you completely on that. That part, yes. Yeah, for sure. Give it to me for more than, half a shift to be like, nope, that doesn't work. That's totally reasonable.
I was looking at these things, and this was a while ago, about NHL coaches, how the thinking has shifted from like set 3 like lines, so 3 individuals, and looking more at duos. And they're trying to find those duels that, and then you kind of can mix and match and interchange that third guy. Like, and I look at Hagel and Cirelli, right, from Tampa, and they're kind of a duo, but they're a second, third line duo, kind of. Yeah, when on the Tampa Bay Lightning, on most teams, they'd probably be top line. But maybe that's kind of what Knoblauch has tried to find more. It's not just a 3-man unit, it's a 2-man unit that work well together. Sorry, that's a fine. And try.
Dusty's not here.
Dusty's not here. Oh,
Cass's mic was muted. Dusty's not here. This is all just the main host is in here. It's free reign a little bit right now.
So maybe that's been the case. And look, if you really look at it from that perspective, it's been very difficult for Knoblauch to find 2 other people that really work well together aside from Connor and Leon.
Yeah, who's Dry's duo for tonight, Brown or Perry?
It's got to be Perry, isn't it? Got 14 goals, for crying out loud. He's going to sign a 5-year no movement clause after this year.
Isn't it a 2-year deal?
No, it's just
or
one.
Is it a 1-year deal?
I think it's just one.
I couldn't remember what they got him to. Let me take a quick look here. Corey Perry.
Well, he goes straight to the home after
Yeah,
this,
he's a UFA. Yeah, so he'll get that big contract then. Okay, Pickard gets the start tonight. Utah tonight, Winnipeg Thursday, Seattle on Saturday. For you boys, 15 games left. How are you handling the goaltending the rest of this way? Is there a set 15-game plan that you have if you're Chris Knoblauch, or is it based on play more so?
I hate this. I hate that Stuart Skinner's not.
I was going to say, I know exactly where Gage is going with this.
I don't understand how you're so close to the end. Stuart Skinner does not look fatigued at this point.
Are you saying you hate it?
He should be playing.
Like most of the games, the rest of the 15?
Yes.
Okay.
He should be in there as much as possible to get his game to a level. He's coming off a good performance against the Rangers, out-dueled Shesterkin. Now build on that. For him to be sitting and watching in this game, I think it's ridiculous. This is Calvin Pickard's. He's a good goalie. He's a good backup, but he's your backup. You gotta get the guy going that's going to get you to the dance, and that's Stuart Skinner. It's ridiculous to me that Calvin Pickard's playing tonight. Stuart Skinner should play 85% of the games remaining.
85?
I'm just looking at this here and
That's
kind of trying out in my mind.
Is this, while you think about it, is this a case maybe Knobloch's wanting to make sure that Pickard's still getting his action in because he believes he's going to need him in the playoffs?
But he's done it before. Like, what more do you need? Why do you need to? Oh, is he going to be okay? No, that's the job of him. That's why he's.
But to keep him not so ice cold, like getting him in a game a week, so that when the playoffs come, he believes that he's going to need to go to Calvin Pickard at some point.
No, I think
you don't agree.
I don't. The durability of Stuart Skinner, at the beginning of his ability to bounce back too. I know that he went through a tough time there, but there was a point where he wasn't losing 2 in a row, and he's got familiarity in the playoffs. I think it's a big mistake not playing him more.
Cass, where are you coming out on?
I'm just looking at it. Yeah, so I was just looking at the schedule and kind of taking off like what I could see happening and who I could see playing. So if we go through all the remaining games, starting tonight, Pickard has got Utah, and then I go, okay, Winnipeg probably going to be Skinner, Seattle probably going to be Skinner, Dallas probably going to be Skinner. So I think you're thinking with Utah, instead of having Skinner play 5 in a row, that you're like, okay, we can put Pickard in against Utah. And then he's going to play again in a week and a little bit on the 27th against Seattle. So
it's a back-to-back Dallas-Seattle.
Because it's back-to-back Dallas-Seattle with travel. So he's going to play there. So then you're going to most likely play Skinner against Calgary. As your starter, you're going to play him against Vegas. Huge game. Probably going to play Pickard against San Jose. Then probably going to play Skinner against LA. Now, this is where you could have a flip. You're going to be 1-1 with the Anaheim game and the St. Louis game, regardless of you're going to get a flip. One's going to play one, one's going to play the other. Or you might even just do Skinner in both of those.
Yeah, well, why would you because if you're going Skinner playing on that LA game, it's at 2:00. They don't play until the Monday at 8:30. So there's even it's almost like an extra half day rest in there.
Yep. So you probably go Skinner there, but you got to keep Pickard involved too. So you're probably playing one of Pickard against St. Louis.
But to Gage, I guess, why do you have to then keep Pickard fully involved?
Well, what happens if Stuart Skinner gets injured? You want to keep him fully involved, but even that, if I look the rest of the way, so I have it here. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if I include tonight, I would anticipate Pickard plays 5 more games, starts 5, including tonight.
85% is 12.75. So you're looking at probably 12 to 13 games you'd want.
Yeah. 15 remaining. Yeah.
15 remaining.
So maybe 80%. So
that's 12 games.
Yeah.
Could you have? Could Pickard go 5 games? Or is that too much for you?
I think that's too much for me.
Why is that too much? That is still keeping Skinner really, really involved.
I just want I want to maximize it, Cass. Let me maximize my goaltender.
It's you always
Gage. Nasty Chat's going to turn into Gager, just like
they already have. Jeez, But you know what? Just like the F1 pool, Cass. By the end of this, when the dust clears. And I'm standing there with Stuart Skinner with the F1 trophy and him with the Conn Smythe and Stanley Cup. Everyone will go, oh my gosh. Wow, that was amazing. Gager was right.
What are we going to say you're right about? Oh, the Conn Smythe part of this. I get it. I get that. That's the part we're talking about there. The schedule is softer for the Edmonton Oilers. I know from a couple of weeks ago, the Edmonton Oilers had the second softest schedule in the NHL down the stretch. So it's not the most difficult game. So I think that also helps. Maybe like it's not like there's a couple of those like the Sharks games. Why almost play Skinner in some of those? Because like only bad things could happen.
I could see that
to a degree.
That's where Pickard plays, right? Those, but it all depends too, I guess, because there could be potential shifts in playoff or places in the Pacific Division with those games, right? Could come down to that San Jose game. Means a lot. Those 2 points could mean the difference between a home ice advantage and starting on the road, right? I never asked you, Cass. Do you think it would be better for the Oilers to start on the road this year? Yeah, I'm just saying this because last year they were beasts at home, right? And just over the last little bit, do you think it would be more beneficial, or because you have the veteran team and they're not really going to be phased by the first game of the playoffs, maybe shifting the pressure to the away team to try to hold serve?
Yeah, I don't think they'll be phased by it. Yeah, I don't think it matters that much. Where I do like home ice advantage is just if you are trying or other teams are trying to get line matchups, is you have last change. And it's not the be all end all. It's not for winning a playoff series, but yeah, I think just even mentally knowing and thinking that you're the better team going in could be a positive thing for this group as well. Or maybe this is a group that needs to be like, no, we're underrated. We're the underdogs. I guess bottom line, I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters. I just, regardless of whether they have home ice advantage or not, I just want to see them playing their best hockey on their way in.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's what I want to see, the buildup of momentum where they're rolling and they're playing really well. And we're not seeing this struggle that we have seen up until that New York game.
Just looking at the goaltending schedule, I will be fascinated in the third last and second last game of the season for the Oilers, because it's Jets on the 13th on the road, home to the Kings on the Monday. I'll be fascinated to see how they go with the goaltending there, because there's the potential that it's a Kings-Oilers first-round matchup. Do you set up for that with Skinner in the net to get ready for that? Do you not want them to see the goalie that they might be starting up against? But also on the flip side, you've got the Winnipeg Jets, who are a really good hockey team. You may have to go through them for the Western Conference Final. Do you try to send a message that way? Does it even matter? I will be fascinated to see how the Oilers handle those two games right at the end of the season.
But I can tell you how they're going to handle it, though. It all depends on where they are in the standings. If a win against LA means you solidify a spot ahead of LA for that home ice advantage, Skinner's going to start that game.
Let's say it's not that you're taking on the Kings, but the home ice is all figured out.
Home ice is all figured out. I'm probably going Skinner against Winnipeg, Pickard against the Kings.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Because you know, and I tell you why is not because I'm like, ooh, they're going to get to know Stuart Skinner. Is like what I wouldn't want to see have happen is have Skinner have a bad game for whatever reason on that last game and get lit
and
have all kinds of confidence.
Something.
Yeah, well, don't give LA the chance to have a night against Skinner to where Skinner's mentally beat up and they're like, oh yeah, we got this guy. Like, just put your back up it. That's how I would approach that one.
If it comes down to that game and there's no ramifications of either team who wins or loses. No, I'm basically calling up Bakersfield, right, and putting everyone on LTIR because I just why take the chance? Connor's not playing, Leon's not playing. No,
it's the second last game of the season. No, you're going to be able to keep him out for 2 games.
Yeah, you're not playing. I'd
agree with that, but I think it'd be tough to get Connor and Leon to sit for 2 games.
I am hiding their skates. Sorry, we can't find your skates, Connor. You're done.
Like, they wouldn't play a hockey game for a week there.
Don't care.
I'm with you. I say that for, like, if everything's locked in at one point, I want especially those 2 guys. You get upstairs. You'll be fine. You'll be able to turn it on come playoff time.
Why? They're not going to do that, though.
Why put it in?
They're not going to do that.
They won't.
They won't do it. Not a chance.
But if you were an advisor to Leon or Connor, would you advise them to do that?
I'd advise them to do what's going to help them be the best in the playoffs.
And that's playing against the LA Kings in a meaningless game?
It's not meaningless to them. That's the thing.
And that's why sometimes I feel like you have to get in the athlete's head and go like, they don't see the bigger picture always.
Yeah.
They're focused too focused on that individual game as opposed to just nothing good could come out of this. Let's just hold off, and you could see them on Saturday. I'm with you, Gage. It's not. I agree with Cass that it's not going to happen, but I agree with you that that's what should happen.
Yeah. All you need is Mikey Anderson to pull the reverse bulldog on Leon like he did a few years ago and sweep the leg.
I want to get to Hired or Fired, which is brought to you by GS Construction, who are hiring now. Become a part of their great team today by visiting gsconstruction.ca or their page at indeed.ca. For the past 50 years, the foundation of GS Construction has been built on efficiency, quality, safety. Take your career to the next level. Join the team, GS Construction. Matt Kassian, Joaquin Gage, Matt Iwanyk with you here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Your clear choice for Edmonton Sports. Reminder, EST Afternoons coming up with Gager and Hernan in 30 minutes. We've got the Reed Wilkins Show, as well as we've got the Oil Stream pre- and post-game shows with Tommy and Hernan. Later today, right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Hired or Fired, the Oilers, they sit 4 points back of the Vegas Golden Knights for the top spot in the Pacific Division. Hired or Fired, the Oilers will win the Pacific Division. Just one little note, the Oilers, as I mentioned, are the second softest schedule down the stretch. The Golden Knights have the fourth softest schedule down the stretch, but are having a little bit of their own struggles at the moment. Cass, Hired or Fired, the Oilers win the Pacific Division.
Because they've started to turn it around a little bit. I feel a little better after the way they won that game. Guys, they're still 4 points back.
I do also want to add that the LA Kings are also 5 points back of the Golden Knights. So they're still in this as well.
No, I don't think so. I think Vegas still wins it. I think they hold on. And Edmonton, I think, finishes in second. And that actually might be okay, because then you're not playing Minnesota in the first round.
They won't catch Knights. I'm going to fire it as well.
4 points, just 4 points.
I know because Vegas has lost their last two. Is it?
Vegas is losing two straight.
Yeah.
Is it two straight?
They lost two straight. Who do they lose to here? They lost to Detroit 3-0 on Sunday, and on Saturday they lost to Buffalo 4-3 in a shootout. They're next in action Thursday against Boston. So
I think they're
the two teams play each other one more time. So that is a very pivotal game when it comes to all of that. But you guys are both firing it. Hire it or fire it. I was trying to come up with a proper goal total for this. But Leon Draisaitl is going for 50 tonight. Or this is his, next opportunity for. He's going to get 50. We know that. I was trying to set the bar of what he could get. So I'm going to set the bar at 62 goals.
Whoa.
Hired or fired, he finishes the season with 62 goals.
Fire it. Not a
That's too high?
That's way too high.
That's 60.
That's too high.
Okay, let's leave 60. I'll put it at 60.
60?
Which is 11 goals in 15 games. Okay, I'll lower it to 60.
I'd still fire it.
Yeah?
I'd still fire it. If you give me 58.
Yeah, 50, I was going to say 58 and a half.
You give me 58 and a half, then I'm like, ooh, that's a tough line. Yeah.
Let's go through the opponents that the Edmonton Oilers have again down this stretch.
They play Nashville? I might take it back. If
they get Utah tonight. They get Winnipeg. They get Seattle. They get Dallas. They get Seattle. They get Calgary. He does well against Calgary. They got Vegas. They get the Sharks, the Kings, the Ducks, the Blues, the Sharks, the Jets, the Kings. And then there is the Sharks in that last game of the season, which I would expect he won't play in that game. Because we have seen from the Oilers of the last number of years that sometimes in that game 82 doesn't play. But he gets the Sharks twice. He gets the Ducks once. He's got the Kraken twice. He's got the Flames in there. 11 goals. He needs just a couple games to go off for 2 goals even, or even get a hat trick. Does he have a hattie this year? Sure he does, somewhere.
Does he? I think he does.
I don't know if Leon's got a hattie. Does he have a hattie this year? That's a good question.
He doesn't.
So he's due.
Yeah.
I'll pull it up while you guys...
Look, the Ducks manhandled the Oilers, so he's not scoring against them.
He does not have a hat trick this season.
Wow.
He's got 49 goals without a hat trick.
Wow. That's
or
impressive.
scoring many empty net goals.
We can't score in an empty net. If I'm the team, I just take the goalie out. He just keeps hitting the post. No, it's 58 and a half is what we're working
He's
at.
got 4 goals in 3 games against the Ducks. He's got the Ducks one more time, I said. He's got 1 goal in 1 game against the Sharks. He's got them twice. Against the Kraken, 1 goal in 2 games. Who else does he score a lot against?
Shoot.
Utah, he's got 2 goals in 2 games against them. So he
Why am I
scoring
flipping
tonight.
all of a sudden? As soon as now I'm thinking about it. Now I'm thinking he's going to score 70. No, I'm going to say under 58 and a half. He might finish with 58. But then it begs the question, he's going to play the last game because they're going to Connor's not that he
They won't let him go for 60.
They will.
No.
Connor will say, yeah, we're going to go for 60. And not that he doesn't look for him every time anyway to pass the puck, but it'll be even more.
Yeah, feed him the biscuit.
I think the players are too focused on the cup this year. That game 82, that's one where they'll understand to not play.
Wow, that'd be a sign of a true veteran team if he sits out at sitting at 58.
And you're still saying fire it, Cass.
That's Saquon Barkley-ish.
At 60, I'm firing it. 60, I'm firing it.
Okay. You guys both don't believe in Leon Draisaitl. Noted. Today, the NHL GM meetings, one thing that was being discussed a lot about was neck protection. Hired or fired, neck protection should be mandatory in the National Hockey League.
I'm going to fire it. I was always hot under the collar. I hated having anything on my neck because I would overheat. They probably make some breathable stuff. I didn't even like the neck guards. I just found them cumbersome and awful to wear. But I do think it'll kind of be like what visors are now.
That's exactly what they were talking about on the TSN I was watching with Chris Johnson. This is going to be like the visor situation.
This is going to be a grandfathered thing. You've already seen certain players start their own neck protection companies. I think Kopitar has one. Yeah, and I think TJ Oshie developed some sort of neck protection as well. So, you don't. It's a gruesome thing. The fact that we don't see more injuries, they're the fastest, most skilled guys on the planet with essentially knives on their feet, and they're still under control. But, although it's only happened a handful of times, you just want to probably protect the neck a little bit more.
Cass, hired or fired? That it should be mandatory in the National Hockey League.
I like the grandfather in idea to me. Sure, you want to make younger guys wear it, fine. Grandfather it in. I don't think so. I'm going to fire it. I don't think you want to make it mandatory for everybody.
No.
Well, and I think with the NHL, it's the perfect win-win situation where it seems like the NHL wants to get this done.
Yeah.
For them, they don't want to deal with anything and any terrible situation to come. They want to get this done. I understand, though, the players would be like some are just with you as agent, not comfortable with it.
Yeah.
But we don't think of visors anymore.
No.
We don't pay attention to the visors anymore. Everyone's wearing visors in hockey. Was able to be grandfathered in. This is a perfect where you could put this in, but you tell the current players, you're fine. You got to make the choice. But every new player moving forward that comes in this league, well, you didn't get a vote. You weren't part of this. You're forced to do this.
Yeah.
And in 10 years from now, basically everyone almost will be wearing the neck guard. And we won't think anything of it. It is kind of the perfect win-win for everyone involved.
And look, when's the last time you've had an eye injury in the NHL since everyone's wearing visors, right? How many times do you see that? It's at least a couple times a season where you see a guy, puck's deflected, hits him in the visor, bends the visor, he's leaking, but at least he can still see, So, and I don't know, I think there's something to it a little bit when, as a little kid, playing hockey and seeing pros wear the same equipment that you are, right? So, and not that all minor hockey does need to wear them anyways, but you see some junior guys and it looks like they got a skate lace tied around there. Like it's not really doing anything.
Was just to go back to it, was Johnny Boychuk the last one? I think he had a visor though.
Oh, for eye.
Yeah.
Yeah. Career ended due to a serious eye injury sustained in the game against Montreal. He had a visor on.
Yeah.
And when was that?
That would have been like 2019.
March 2020, so we're 5 years ago.
2020. Okay.
What, did it hit him flush or did it hit the visor in?
Went up.
Cass?
Yeah, it went up underneath. It was a skate.
90 stitches.
Wow.
Yeah, skate went up and underneath. That was bad.
Yeah, I forgot about that one. Well, there's higher deferred for GS Construction. This is 2 guys and a goalie, 2 mats and a goalie edition here. It's been long enough. F1 now. I am surprised you're gloating as much as you are, Cass.
I'm not really gloating that much.
Why?
It was chaos. It was the first one. I had to take.
Like last year, great start by you. But it was Gage that came out and season long got
slowly
it done.
clawed back. Yeah.
That's why I was just a little surprised that you're just.
Well,
you know what?
You didn't take the Bill Belichick onto China, right?
Yeah,
like, that's why I was surprised.
Yeah,
that you just, I would say whatever is 1 week on to China.
I took my foot off the gas proverbially last season, where I thought it was in the bag, and I kind of quit doing stuff and paid less attention to it because I didn't think anyone was coming back. And then Gager crept up out of nowhere, and then it was too late. I didn't have a high enough cap and wasn't able to do what I wanted to do. Made a couple of big gambles that didn't pay off and wasn't able to step back in. And one particular where I think we had the same lineup, Gager, I'm like, he's probably not going to change, but I went to I used one of my chips to throw everybody in there. And I was like, okay, like to try to, and I was 4 or 5 points back, top place in that one. Yeah. And so I was like, I'm 4 or 5 points back. Maybe if I drop this thing now, like I'll have a good weekend and then I'll jump back into first and then revert back to kind of the same and basically look to mirror and anticipate what you're going to do and kind of try to mirror it. So the points stay get the upper hand and then kind of stay the same. And my guys sucked. I spent hit everybody and they sucked. And then I was too far back and could never recover. So no, I know it's first. I wanted to gloat because I felt like gloating and it was
you
fun.
should. After that, to get it right as much as you did, Cass, it was quite impressive. I was like, I couldn't believe that you were on top of the leaderboard because my one team after qualifying was up and my other team was just garbage. But by the end of the race, they had flipped spots completely. So I love the fact that there's so many guys participating this year. Who knows what's going to happen?
Question: how many of this? Because we've got 30 teams, so 15 people are in this, I believe.
Yeah.
Because I think everyone did put in the 2.
Yeah.
How many are still doing their line or their teams?
In a few weeks.
2 months.
Well, Tommy's already quit.
I'm in a terrible spot. I'm 24 and 24. It seemed like every single racer I had as I was watching the race, I'm like, oh, he's out. Oh, now he's out. Oh, now he's out. I do not want to see where I am tomorrow. So it wasn't a good start for my teams. But I do want to get a little bit better on this. But I would say there's a few people that are going to bow out on this one. Well, yeah, Tommy didn't even submit a lineup for one of these.
Well, no, he didn't submit his team.
Because it's all gray.
Yeah, I know. But Tommy
is
the first. He's the first team principal to go into a race -2 points. So, but it'll be good. At least, in Shanghai, it's going to give us I think it'll give us a little bit better understanding of the cars, the rookies and stuff, because we're not going to see a chaotic race it's not supposed to rain. So, I mean, I love it. It's great.
Yeah.
It sucks to plan your fantasy team because especially on a street circuit.
Sprint weekend.
It's a sprint. Yeah, it's a sprint weekend too. So
right off the bat, we're right into a sprint weekend.
Crazy.
Did either of you watch the F1 trailer?
The new one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Looks good.
Does it?
I mean, all trailers kind of look good. It's.
I don't know about that. There's a lot of trailers out there that make me watch and be like, yeah, I'm not watching that movie because you look awful.
Well, some trailers you watch and you think, oh, I feel like I've just watched the whole movie, right? And there's no need to go see it. But I'm interested to see a lot because they filmed it during races, right?
That was fascinating.
That's kind of neat to me. So you'll see parts of previous seasons and stuff. And I looked into Brad Pitt talking about driving the car and things like that. It was an F2 car of course I'm going to go see it. Hopefully it's really good. Maybe
Hans
I'm pumping
Zimmer's
it up
doing the music.
Who?
Hans Zimmer.
Oh yeah, that's great.
He does incredible scores.
Yeah.
Wow. Did you watch the trailer at all? You all into?
I saw it. I saw it, yeah, and I was just kind of like, oh, another movie. So
That's it to you? No interest in
Yeah,
going that
that's it so far. Yeah.
If it's not a cartoon and princess dresses, Cass probably
not
isn't.
gonna be there.
Probably not going
Yeah.
for it.
Hey, Javier Bardem's in it.
Oh yeah.
And Hans Zimmer did the score also of Dunes. It's just all those connections.
Oh yeah, he's done all kinds of crazy stuff.
Oh, that's and Jerry Bruckheimer is the producer of this, who is an owner of the Seattle Kraken. There's your tie to the National Hockey League when it comes to this. I will not go see this in theater. I'll just say that.
No.
Nah.
Might be nice though.
It'll be one day. It'll be on Crave or Netflix or something, and I'll click play maybe, and I'll watch it.
Yeah, I like the sound, but you know what? I was talking about this with someone else. Just the new headphones that you have and can put on. Like they have the spatial surround within the over-ear headphones, and it's like being in a movie theater. Like it's crazy how the technology for good sound is. But sometimes you like to feel that big bass that rocks.
You want to, yeah. Well, this would be a movie you'd want 4D.
Yeah.
I would think. You'd want that
just
little wind that blows, the chair
maybe
moving a little bit or something, the shaking of it. Yeah, if anything, this is a movie I'd want to watch in 4D.
We're just spitting.
I think we have one theater that does 4D in Edmonton.
Really?
I think.
Is there one? I didn't even know there
the
even was.
West Ed one does. Cineplex.
I know they have the one with the seats that shake a little
D-box,
bit.
yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't know like the spitting and where it's like getting spit in your face. Ugh.
Maybe we don't. I
There's
hate
just
There's-
some guy sitting there with a spray bottle and just
We have 4DX there.
Ooh.
It's time to transform going from watching to experiencing all your senses. What's playing in 4DX right now? Novocaine is playing in 4DX. So yeah, the Scotiabank Theater at West Ed, they've got the
Okay.
4DX stuff.
Well, does someone like hit you with stuff for that Novocaine movie? I don't know if I want to see that in 4D.
And,
Wear my helmet.
there's motion, water, fog, wind, vibration, lightning, bubbles, scent, rainstorm, and snow.
Snow?
Floating snow bringing a glowing ambiance to the auditorium is what they say.
Huh?
You want that stuff in my popcorn?
Yeah, no doubt.
I'll go to if you do 40X with me, I'll go watch F1 with you and think it's
Okay,
40X.
all right. That sounds like a plan.
And then Cass, if you want to come on by, I know you're a little on it, but if you want to do the 40X version, we could plan a nice 2 mats and a goalie time out there. I'm sure we can
$400 a ticket.
Yeah,
$400 a ticket for the kid, like holding a bag of flour over your head and just shaking it. This is snow. This is snow.
It's going to be absolutely wonderful. It'll be a glorious team building time.
Yes, it
Oilers, Utah. We just got a couple minutes left here on 2 Guys and a Goalie. Cass, key to the game for the Edmonton Oilers and a prediction.
Key to the game and a prediction. Key to the game. I think keep the same mentality you had in the third period. That is it to me. It's all mental. The key to this one is mental. Is that mental game heading into it? That preparation heading into it is keeping that momentum going. That's the key to the game. Prediction. Oh, geez, I don't know. These have been so hard. I'll do a prediction if you do one.
You asking me or Gage?
You. No, I'll say 4-2 Oilers with an empty netter. It's a tight one.
Ooh. The keys is I'll have to say probably play without the puck is what I'm gonna say. Just Utah's got some burners, making them have to go through. In playoffs you see those layers that teams have to go start developing that. But just play without the puck, and I'll say another close one without the empty net because the Oilers can't score on empty nets. 3-2 Oilers.
I won't go game prediction. I'll say under 6. Over and under 6. I'll say this is a tight game then and under 6 goals. That's where I will go with that one.
I like it.
Then we'll get that nice tight hockey game. As for Utah, we did say that they are 2 points back of a playoff spot. But in the month of March, they haven't been able to get on a roll one way or another, good or bad. They lost their first game in March, on March 1st to the Devils, beat the Red Wings, lost to Chicago, lost to Toronto, beat Anaheim, lost to Seattle, beat Vancouver. So in February, they had a really good month of February, but since March, just can't get going one way or the other. But still only sit 2 points back a playoff spot, when you look at that final spot in the West, Calgary is taking on the Rangers tonight as well. St. Louis is in Nashville to take on the Preds tonight, while the Canucks, they're home to the Jets tonight. So that race could get really tight by the end of things. If Calgary can find a way to get a win, if Vancouver loses, if St. Louis wins, Utah's going to really need that win, and it could be a really, really tight race down the stretch. But for other fans, they hope that that's not the case. Cass, Gager, we will do this again on Thursday. You got EST Afternoons. What's coming up on the show?
Obviously, we'll get into this Utah Oilers game. Heat and Smoke coming up at 1:40. Brogan Houston from the Desert Sport News at 2:20. And obviously just tee up Reed and his show coming up at 3.
We also got the Reed Wilkins show, as you said, 3 o'clock. The Oil Stream pregame show, 6 o'clock. Tommy Hernan will get you set for the game on behalf of Cass, Gager, I'm Matt. Thanks for tuning in to Two Guys and a Goalie, presented by GS Construction. EST Afternoons coming up next. Don't go anywhere.